Okay. So when starting the Texas 4-H scholarship, before you even get to that point, you need to ask yourself, why are you pursuing a degree? What are the benefits of a college degree? How do you apply? And then what is the financial support? So most of the people that register tonight are going to be seniors. And so you've made your decision to go to a technical school, or you've also made the decision to get a bachelor's or associate's degree. So now you're to the point of what financial support is out there and where do I look? So in your degree options, there's technical, associates, and bachelor's. Of course, your technical is focusing on specific skills for a career path, such as like a chef, welding, or electrical. And then you have your associates, that's the two-year degree that focuses a little more in-depth on the career path, but not as much as a bachelor's would. And that encompasses the 4 years of schools that you go to, whether it's like Texas A&M, Baylor, any of the ones. So in your financial support, what we're really going to be talking about, of course, is the scholarship, and that is going to be earned financial support. Other types of earned financial support are going to be on-campus jobs, off-campus jobs, and then I'm going to put quote unquote free financial support. That's your internships, your grants, or work studies that you might obtain in college. And then, of course, you have your borrowed. So that would be your student or parent loans that are federal, state, or private. But like I said, we're going to focus on scholarships or the Texas 4-H Opportunity Scholarship. So now, what is available for the Texas 4-H Opportunity Scholarship? What can you apply for to get support? And so you have your bachelor's opportunity where you're applying for a bachelor's of science or a bachelor's of art, and that requires you to be in the upper quarter of your class. You also have technical, which again, that's that 10 to 16th month degree that you're going to get. That goes specifically over a certification of any type that you're looking for. And then the Courageous Heart, and this goes into any medical, family, financial, educational obstacles that you might have with written documentation of those obstacles. And then that will be a max award of $5,000. And for those that are just hopping on, if you have questions throughout the process, feel free to put them in the chat or come off of mute at any time. So things to consider, because now you are wanting to apply for the award, and we're going to go more in depth as to what the changes are, updates, and answer some questions from the survey. But it is the time to get started right now. So if you're going to apply for the Opportunity Scholarship and you're a senior, you should already have started looking at the application, creating your portal, and getting started on that. If you're a junior, you need to start organizing and recording your thoughts. I highly encourage having a record book because some of the same questions are going to be from a record book into what the scholarship requires. So it's the same thing, start recording. Seniors, if you're still in that brainstorming process, start organizing your thoughts. Maybe create a Word document, put, all your 4-H experiences in there, what you really want to emphasize, those types of things. This is also the time to start the communication with your county extension agent and your school counselor or principal, or if you're homeschooled, your administrator, because they will both be required to sign off on verification forms, which again, we'll get into, but have that conversation with them now so they know what to expect and be looking for the emails or any communication that you might need help on later on. And then I'm not going to emphasize this enough, but always review. So of course, you're going to do one rough draft, but one draft is not enough. So have multiple eyes looking at it, review the information multiple times, review the guidelines, make sure you're still meeting each one of those requirements. And when you're comfortable to submit, do it, but make sure that you have multiple times you've looked at your answers. And then I've heard this from people from applying for 4-H scholarships, but they also say that the Opportunity Scholarship organizes all of their information and it makes it easy for them to copy and paste into other scholarships. So this could be a guide for you to start applying for more if you're a senior. So what is the Texas 4-H Opportunity Scholarship? Well, it is overseen by the Texas 4-H Youth Development Foundation. It is worked and partnered with the Texas 4-H Youth Department under AgriLife Extension, but it is ran through the foundation portal. It is also estimated that they give $2.7 million away and 225 scholarships. I do want to remind everyone that's on the call, these are going to be academic-based scholarships. Yes, your 4-H experience will be counted for a score. Yes, your financial need will be considered, but first and foremost, academic-based when you're applying. So this was a big one that I got questions on. What are the changes for this year? What are things that we need to consider? First, this has been the same thing. If you get a Terry Scholarship, you're not eligible to receive the Opportunity Scholarship. This year, we will be requiring the applicant to go to the county extension agent to fill out the verification form and upload it themselves, instead of the county extension agent uploading the verification form after. So again, start your communication with your agent, because you will be required to go to them, ask them to fill out the form, make sure your application is correct and that you're not lying in any piece or area, and then you upload the county extension agent form as well. And I'll show you where to find that later. Also, the ACT and SAT is not required for this year, but if you do have a junior, they are considering it for the 2026 application. So keep that in mind. Go ahead and start taking your standardized test just in case they do decide to pass it in the board. This year, they're also doing a first come, first serve process with the interviews that are on April 25th through the 27th in 2025 if you're selected for an interview. So mark the dates down. These are non-negotiable. You have to attend one of the dates within, but again, it's first come, first serve. And if you are in District 12, I know we have our rifle match that is that same weekend, but that's the opportunity for you to log on as soon as the dates are released and try to get an interview that does not conflict with the district event. If you are chosen to receive a scholarship, you will have to attend Texas 4-H Roundup. There is an appeal process if you have justification for not making it. However, it takes a lot for you not to miss the opportunity to go to Texas 4-H Roundup. This is where you will meet your donor. This is where you'll have a banquet, and you'll also be recognized on the stage at Roundup each night. They will also not be rewarding collegiate scholarships for 2025. And this is brand new. They are awarding one $30,000 scholarship this year that is given to the top ranking scholars after the interview. And they will be notified via email that they're one of the top ranking scholars. And then they'll have a virtual interview in May. Major scholarship donor criteria. So many people believe that the Texas 4-H Foundation sets up the criteria all alone, except they also partner with Houston Rodeo, Rodeo Austin, Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, and their syndicate, and they have their own criteria as well. So your general eligibility to apply is not limited to the top 50% of the class. You could be in the third or fourth quartile of their classes, and there may be some exceptions. So just keep that in mind. But as you can see, Houston Rodeo, Livestock Show, and Rodeo Austin require you to be at the top 4% of your class to apply. No major has to be verified or chosen at this time when you apply. Your GPA is required for Rodeo Austin to be 90% or higher to be considered for it. And then Houston has one stipulation that if you've already received $110,000 in financial aid, that they will not award you a scholarship. Now, for the Fort Worth Stock Show Syndicate and Fort Worth Rodeo, you can be in the top 50% of your class. Now, the syndicate does require you to have a selected major, and that's in agriculture and life sciences, and that will be determined on your application. And then Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo requires you to have exhibited at their show at once. And that doesn't mean just showing livestock. They do have other contests. So if you participated in any way at Fort Worth Stock Show in a contest or competed, you're eligible for their scholarship. So now going into the foundation side and their general eligibility requirements and what they have determined. So you must be a current 4-H member this year and at least active the last 2 out of the 3 years with a minimum of 3 years of participation. So you could be participating from 9-year-old to, let's say middle school, and then you just pick back up last year and rejoin. You're still eligible to apply. You also have to be a United States citizen, Texas resident. And this is a big one because people are taking a super senior year for high school. You have to graduate the year that you apply for the scholarship. So whether it's public school, private, or homeschool, you have to graduate at the end of your school year and for the 24-25 year. You also have to be accepted into a Texas college or university, and that is at the time of your interview in April. So when you fill out this application, and I will show you, there's a portion where you put colleges you have applied to. You do not have to be accepted yet. And for example, if you're not in the top 10% at Texas A&M, they don't release their acceptance letters until February-ish, just depending on where your application is in line. And so you don't have to confirm that until your interview if you're selected. And then you must also submit a completed transcript showing 3.5 years of coursework with grades. And that will be all the way up until December of 2024 if you're applying this year. So your fall grades will be incorporated on it. You will also have to have passed and completed all necessary tests. And that will just be the STAR test that you've taken throughout your high school career. You'll also have to submit the application, of course, and then you'll have to include your transcript and your FAFSA in there, and I'll show you what that looks like as well. And then again, highlighted in red, your fall grades have to be on your transcript. And that usually will happen some point in January when you start school back up. And then a big one, no matter what you do not hit submit until you are 100% confident in your application. Because once you hit submit, you cannot get it back. They do not send it back for any reason. So make sure you are 100% ready to hit the submit button. So basic scholar requirements. So now that you've been selected, quote unquote, that you're receiving a scholarship, you have to maintain a 2.0 GPA in college. You must stay enrolled in 12 hours of credit at your Texas university or college. You will be sending an updated letter to your donor each semester. This is generally like a thank you note also with how your school is going, classes that you're taking, and then you'll be providing a transcript, of course, future class schedules with your total credit hours, and to continue to get funding from the Texas 4-H Foundation. So FAFSA. As I'm sure many of you remember last year or heard about it, last year FAFSA was not required on the foundation because there was an on the student aid website. They are requiring it this year, and it does open December 1st. My recommendation, because this needs to be completed by January 31st, is make sure that when it opens, you get on the website and apply for your FAFSA number, because it does take 3 to 4 weeks to get that information back. So make sure as soon as December 1st opens, you're on there checking it, making sure that you can apply and get your information in a time. This goes into the watching part of the studentaid.gov where you get your FAFSA number, but Texas 4-H Foundation will be watching as well to make sure that there are no issues with FAFSA. If there is, an email will be sent out to all of the people considering to apply and to county offices with the updated information. But I still recommend December 1st, log on and pull your FAFSA information so you can get it back in a timely manner. So what you'll be getting from FAFSA is called your preliminary SAI number. This used to be known as an EFC number, and this is how much your parents can contribute to your tuition yearly. And what you'll do is take a screenshot of this and upload it into your portal once you receive it. So you'll just snapshot your page, and then it'll have the confirmed number on there, but you'll also have to type in that EFC number too. So now that we've gotten the FAFSA stuff out of the way, starting your application, it is completely online. So you'll do all of this, and again, I'm going to go over links and show you everything, but it is all online. And you can download the list of questions when you log in to start working on them in Word to kind of work on the grammar, or if you're trying to brainstorm. And then you can copy and paste them into the text box, or you can upload certain documents. There will also be format samples that will be given under each question that show you how to start your questions. And then the instructions as well It says to reach out to your county office, but the best way to find them is on the Texas 4-H Foundation website so that you can go and download the guide yourself, understand the rules, and know what's needed in each portion. So items needed to complete. This will just make your process easier, but if you've completed a record book, again, the questions are identical. So you can take the information from your record book and apply it to the Opportunity Scholarship. If you have not done a record book, don't stress, but I do encourage you to start writing information down now and brainstorming and putting all your thoughts together to put on the scholarship. Of course, you need the guidelines to make sure that you're filling out everything correctly. You'll need an official high school transcript that you will upload on the portal for yourself that has to be signature of a counselor, principal, or administrator. And if you're homeschooled, whoever your administrator is that signs off on transcripts or your credit hours, that's the same person you'll go to for your high school transcript as well. Again, the FAFSA number that you'll fill out, and then the county extension agent verification form, the applicant will be uploading it this year, and then the GPA verification form that the counselor will fill out for you on their end, which is different from the transcript. They're just verifying that the transcript is true. So important dates. This was also another question that I received regarding the scholarship. January 31st, again, that's when FAFSA needs to be completed for the application. February 15th is the deadline for the application. After that day, you will not be able to make any more edits, and you need to make sure that you hit submit before February 15th. And I would recommend submitting it on February 14th, just in case you have technology issues or whatever comes up, and that way you're not stressing to get into the deadline at 11 p.m. that night. Early April, you'll be notified if you get an interview. And then, of course, April 25th through the 27th is going to be your interview itself for the time that you select. And then January 3rd through the 5th will be the Texas 4-H Roundup, where you'll go to the banquet and then be recognized on stage. And then those invited for that $30,000 scholarship I mentioned will have a virtual interview on May 1st through the 3rd if they are invited back. So the scholarship process. Once you have submitted a scholarship, most people just notice this on the side that this is what I do as a 4-H member, and I just apply the process. But what does Texas 4-H do in return to help you? So of course, they get the guidelines together and send it out to you. Well, once you submit the application, it goes through a verification form, not just through your county agent, but also with specialists, with the Texas 4-H office. Lots of people check on this. Then the applications get judged. And then those selected will go into an interview notification. So that's when you as a 4-H member will come into the interview, and then they'll go through another selection committee and review the scores. And then from there, who is selected will go in to get a scholarship banquet and go to the presentation. And then the donors will release their financial aid support, and you'll sign a contract along with your thank you notes, your transcripts, and then your college verification that you are enrolled in 12 hours. And then the Texas 4-H will pay directly to the university. That they do not give money straight to you. So understand that that's why it's important you've been accepted and approved, because they work with the financial aid office. The scoring system, this was another question that I got. So if you go onto the Texas 4-H Foundation webpage, you will not see these scores that are underneath this 70 total, 75 total, and 40 total. So I have it broken down for you that showcases how much each portion is weighed. And each portion in the 4-H experience, of course, is a little bit more in the projects, leadership, citizenship, and community service, with a little bit less in honors and outside 4-H experiences, and then, of course, the personal narrative and career narrative. Now, the grade point average, do not get confused because it's 10 points. It's still an academic-based scholarship. So yes, your GPA will weigh on the application, but again, understand it's still academic-based. And then the only difference is if you do the Courageous Heart, you'll have to get that letter of recommendation that signs off you had a hardship, and then a different narrative from your 4-H narrative to upload as well. Are there any questions yet? I know I'm going fast. I feel like I'm going fast. Okay, so now guidelines are out of the way, FAFSA's out of the way, deadlines are out of the way, the process is out of the way. Let's get started into applying and what it looks like and what some examples are. So this is the first thing you're going to see when you decide to apply and to create a login or an account. The biggest thing I can stress here, and if you're a parent listening or you are a senior or junior listening, this needs to be an email that you will check after high school. If you use a high school email in this, they will be deactivated after you graduate. So this is the only way the Texas 4-H Opportunity Foundation scholarship people can reach out to you is through this email. It does not need to be a parent's email either. It needs to be the applicant's email that they will check. And this is just a personal thought, but as a kid, make sure that you have a professional email. You know, that could be your first name, initial, and your last name at gmail.com, but don't put anything fancy like, I don't know, 4-H youth, something crazy, and make sure it's professional so that when donors also are trying to reach out to you, that they know you have that standard of professionalism. So after you have created your account, this is going to be the first thing you see, and it's going to have each type of scholarships on there, and you'll choose which one you want to apply for. And there's an apply button that's going to be like down here in the corner. Now, what I do want to highlight on this is it makes note not to save any file with your personal information. So, for example, if you're going to upload your FAFSA, put in there your initials and the date or anything like that, but do not put your first and last name FAFSA. They do not want personal information on your upload for what you save it as. This is a new tool that they're adding this year. It's called the Collaborator tool. So you've hit apply on the application and now it's popped up. In the top corner, you'll have Collaborate. And you can click on that, and this is where you can add your county extension agent to review your portal or your application. It's also where you can add a parent if they want to help you, because they can go in and actually edit your document for you. They can view changes that you've made, all that stuff. So if you need somebody to review, you can add them on this Collaborator right here. So after that, we're going to go into section 1A, and this is just going to be personal information. Just what's your name, your ID. So it gives you examples on that. I do want to stress on the phonetic spelling for your full name. This is how they're going to read your name if you're selected for the scholarship. This is going to be how they pronounce it at Texas 4-H Roundup. So make sure for the phonetic spelling that you have it accurate, or you have it the way it needs to sound, because that's how they're going to read it. That's just a FYI. The other thing is, are you applying for an FFA scholarship? You are allowed to apply for FFA scholarships and 4-H, and I encourage to apply for both. They just use that information because Houston Rodeo and other organizations donate to both, and so they don't want to select the same kid from both organizations for the Houston Rodeo scholarship. So that county extension agent verification process, this is going to be next. It will have a sample email that you can send to your county agent to start the communication with them. I would also call, because I know county agents are not in their office every day checking their emails. So I would call them and tell them, hey, I'm getting started on the application. Here's the information. I'm also going to send you an email as well, and it will send them all the information as well in the portal. So just make sure that you're keeping that communication open with them. Next will be your demographics. And then you'll have your county and district information. So if you're not sure what district you're in, which most are in District 12 that are on this call, please contact your county agent to figure out what district you live in. And then, of course, it has your county of where you're a member in, your club manager, or not club manager, club name, the number of years you've been enrolled in 4-H. Again, this needs to be at least 3 minimum. Then your county agent name, phone number, and email. This is where I was talking about the college and university process. So you at this point applying do not have to be accepted into a university. You do, however, have to have applied to at least, 2 colleges, your first choice and your second choice, and you'll list them here. Now, it does have a point where you can say, no, I've not been accepted yet, or yes, I have, but you have to have the information in there so they know that you're going to college to be awarded. And then this is the Section 3 question. This goes back to Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, saying that you have to compete in their program to be eligible for their scholarship. So this is just a requirement that they have for verification. Then you'll have the expected graduation date. And this is where you upload that official transcript that you receive from your counselor that's signed off or notarized or whatever it needs to be official from your school. And you'll upload that here. And again, 3.5 years of coursework. That will be until your December year of your senior year. So typically you won't get those until January. And then this is going to be that GPA verification that we give to counselors or to whoever your administrator is. And they give you an example of how to reach out to your counselor, because you do not want the first email to be coming from the Texas 4-H Foundation office and them going, what is this? And then sending it to junk. So talk to them, explain to them that this is what I need. I'm requesting this of you. And they will receive an email from Texas 4-H Foundation to help assist in the process as well and upload the information required, which this is what they're going to fill out. It's just your name, what kind of school do you go to, where you rank in your class, GPA, all your tests, have you passed them, and then their official title and contact information if they have questions. Now, the cool thing that was introduced this year to the 4-H specialists is they have this nifty little gadget that will show you if they have completed the GPA verification form. If not, they get an email every 7 days reminding them to do it. However, I would still go talk to them if after a month passes by and they have not done it, because you can see that the application's in draft mode, that it's 0 out of 0, they haven't submitted anything. Go and remind them that you need that completed. It doesn't take very long, but just remind them, have that open conversation, but they will continue to get emails until this shows that they have completed it. So pay attention to that in your application process too. Section 6. So this is where we get into actually putting stuff into narratives, explaining ourselves and how to, or explaining to the judge who we are. So you'll upload that FAFSA score here. This is where you're going to upload the screenshot. Okay, so when you have that FAFSA information that comes back in 3 to 4 weeks and you save it, this is where you upload it. Now, your financial narrative. When you're writing your financial narrative, this needs to include information as to any financial strength that you might have on yourself or on the family. So even if you have parents that have 2 other kids in college and they're paying for their tuition, include that in there, because your parents might be struggling to help pay for your tuition. If there's any kind of care of family members, which they put in there, any financial burdens you can think. A strange question I got was, what if you have a weird tax year? This is where you explain all the financial burdens that could cause you to have to pull out student loans at any point, or might have to take a job or anything to help pay for your college. Now, do not start off with, I deserve the $20,000 scholarship because I'm special. Make sure that you're putting in there what hardships you are, but be humble about it. Make sure that you are asking for assistance without saying that I deserve it because I'm me. Any questions on that part? Okay. A little more in the financial information, which I kind of covered a little bit, but again, the FAFSA does take 3 to 4 weeks to get back. So keep that in mind. It does need to be before January 31st as well. The FAFSA website is listed there. Again, in the email that I'm going to send after this, all the links will be there for you to click on and start exploring. when you do your financial narrative, don't start with I deserve. This is where you are letting the judges know why you need financial aid. And then put information in there too, you can, about the cost of college that you can get from their financial aid department. So just examples from my college, I would incorporate how much tuition was for a semester at Texas A&M, and to explain how much I would need to cover the cost of college. And make sure you include housing, books, I mean, all the things, anything that could cause a financial burden. Okay, 4-H projects, and I have examples for these that I'm excited to share. So this is going to be 4-H projects for your whole career. I got a strange question. I didn't really know how to answer it, so I had to think on this. But the question was, what is the more important 4-H experiences or projects that are listed in 4-H? Well, to me, they're all important. How you go about entering the information is what draws the judge into why it was important to you. So in this portion, you're going to make sure that whatever 4 projects you choose, you're conveying what you grew in, what areas of improvement you did, the scope of what you did in your project, what goals you had for it, any kind of workshop, tours, anything that changed you and helped you grow as a leader. So my first example for this is a 4-H project sheet. And this was a table, because you can upload on the 4-H projects portion a piece of paper, and I'll show you that after this. But this is kind of what they did. They started with their number 1 project area, and they put that at the very top, what was most important to them. Of course, they included hours and project presentations. You can leave off hours, that doesn't matter as much, but just make sure you're highlighting, the importance of what you've done. They've also included growth. How did you grow in this project area? How did it help shape you into a leader? They included significant awards, and I do want to stress here, because I did have a beef project back in the day, that you can include grand champion heifer, beef, grand champion broilers in this, because that is an award that's showcasing your hard work. It's something that you work towards, and it's showcasing that. So please include that in your significant awards. They also included a goal. So like they focus more on their career path, that it shaped them to be agriculture communications career. Include that stuff. And then you can see as well, they did like their smaller project areas that they also contributed just as much time to, but at the bottom. So you want to make sure your important areas are at the top, what you want to catch the judge's eye very fast. And I do want to stress that when you're putting this together, imagine that you're explaining this to someone that may not know about 4-H. I understand that sounds crazy, but to me, I understand all the beef things, but to the next person, they might not understand why vaccination protocols are important. So make sure you're explaining it in a way that anyone can understand it. So going back to where you can upload it. At the bottom, it does show like a little upload file here. It's recommended to use 10-point font. It has to be 1 page. You cannot go over the 1 page maximum. So keep that in mind when you're putting this together. It also has to be within this character count. So when you're putting it together on a Word document, in the bottom corner where it shows you how many pages out of how many pages, you can click on that and it'll show you how many characters are in the whole Word document that you're using. And the key here is to really have more quality in your wording than quantity. You want to make sure that you're delivering the most impact in your statements instead of trying to write paragraphs to fill in space. 4-H leadership roles. So you can list up to 20 major 4-H leadership roles. This will include your volunteer, promotional, or any appointed/elective leadership, such as being a club president or a district officer or anything like that. You'll list out your roles and your responsibilities, what you've done there, any accomplishments you've had, your duties, and then levels of involvement, and then explain what was the importance and impact on that. And that is my next example. And it looks very similar to what you would put in the 4-H record book. But they very simply laid out the most recent to the least, or I thought this one to present should have been moved up, but to the least at the bottom. They explain their role. The only thing I would have changed with this is putting a little bit more emphasis on the importance and impact it had on you as a 4-H, or what impact did that have on you and how were you a leader in that position. Again, you can upload that in this document with that 4,000 character limit. Make sure, again, you're putting emphasis on your quality versus quantity. So if you can only fit 15 lines within a page, it's better to have 15 thorough lines than it is to try to fit 20 in a page with small wording that just says, I led a club meeting. Well, what was the importance in that? How did that benefit you? How did that change you? 4-H citizenship and community service, very similar to leadership. It's going to have the same projects, what you've done, your roles, your responsibilities. I would use the same format as the leadership template I showed you. List out your duties and accomplishments, and then what impact it had on other people. So in community service and citizenship, we're not thinking as far as what impact that had on me because it's a community service project. What impact did that have on the community? If you're donating food cans, great, but who's coming to get them? What population are we serving? How are we helping the community? So explain that. Again, some people might understand, but some people might not. So explain what the importance is for that activity. Outside 4-H experience, I would do the same thing. You can upload a document here as well. It has any organization you're a part of, any leadership you're a part of, honors, work experience, anything that you've done outside of 4-H, this is where it gets implemented. Very similar to the record book. It could be within your school, it could be FFA, it could be a church group. I mean, if you think about it, I would put it in here because we want to make sure that you are a well-rounded individual. Yes, some people are diehard 4-H, but what else have you done outside of 4-H? That's the question. And they just want to make sure and see that you're contributing to other organizations as well. Or if it's in the school and you have honors, those things are to be highlighted here. Okay, your personal narrative. This is where, as same as in a record book, you're going to be telling your 4-H story to the judge. Who are you? What is 4-H to you? What have you done in 4-H? What is your personal narrative in 4-H? You can include any personal obstacles that you've had in 4-H. You can put anything in there that explains to you within your 4-H scope, or explains to the judge within your 4-H scope who you are. And then the big thing I would highlight here too is how 4-H has helped you in the future. So if you're going to college, how has 4-H shaped you to go to college or shaped you to find a career path? Put things in there like that. And an example I will give, and just thinking back to me when I did mine long ago, but I put in there, I started off with something big that caught the judge's attention. It wasn't, hi, my name is Grace. I did 4-H with cattle. It started more like something that just immediately, like a quote or something that would catch their attention, and then the significance that went into why that's important. Or maybe there's an obstacle and you start with setting the scene of the obstacle in your 4-H career, and then list out who you are, how you overcame it, and those types of things. Any questions on those portions? Okay, I waited the 3 seconds. All right, career narrative. And this is where you're going to explain what your career you're looking for, your degree that you're pursuing. You're going to lay all that out there and where you're going in the future. That's what they want to know here. I can tell you what I wrote in my career narrative is not what I was thinking I was going to be doing for a career. I can tell you that right now. But they want to see that you have career aspirations. So this is where you put, similarly again to the record book, what jobs have you started investigating? Did you go and volunteer at a vet office? Did you go to a beauty parlor and watch somebody cut hair and help clean supplies? I mean, anything that you've done to help shape your career path will go here. You could even include that, say, yes, you went to a vet office and you absolutely hated the experience. Now, don't word it like that, but it did help shape your career path into where you're going. So you know that you don't want to be a vet anymore. This is just making sure that your experiences outside and inside of 4-H are shaping you to a career path. And then this is going to be the final thing that you see, and that's going to be your acknowledgement and that everything is correct. Again, do not hit the submit button until you are ready, until you're 100% sure that everything is correct within your application. Double check the transcripts there, double check the GPA verification form, FAFSA, all those guideline requirements. I would go back and run through it one more time, double check before you hit submit. So your county extension agent in review, you are required to send them that email, as you saw from the portal. You are required to have your county extension agent fill out the verification form, and I'll show you where to find that. And your agent has the right to request to see your application. This is to make sure that they are reviewing your 4-H information and that it's accurate and that it's correct in what you have put on there and that you're not being fictitious with anything that's listed. Make a plan early with your agent. I would highly encourage you to go to your county office, start having that visit with your agent. Let them know what's going on, that you need the verification form and that you're doing it. Do not wait until February 1st to have that conversation. Because in the middle of February, that's when stock shows are happening. That's when major shows are happening. Your county agent needs to know now. Same with counselors. They need to know now before things get crazy. Applicants will have the ability to collaborate, like I showed you previously, and that's where you can add your agent in so they can be reviewing your application. Again, that's another set of eyes for you. This year, I am starting something new for District 12, and you will all get access to this when I send the email after. I am starting a Google form to help review your financial narrative, your personal narrative, or any of the 4-H experience sections. So if you need help in that part, I do request that it be done before January 15th. That way I can get it to you in a timely manner. So you're not waiting on me as well, but I can help review, help with formatting, any of that stuff. So keep that in mind if you're in District 12 or Miss Anita that's over there in District 5. I can help you out too. So some helpful tips as we wrap up here. Again, start early. I cannot emphasize that enough. Begin your application for FAFSA December 1st or when it opens. If it's slow, try doing it that first week. So just keep checking on it. Start brainstorming and gathering information. Do that now. If you're a junior, start writing everything down. If you're a senior, you should be in the brainstorming process on what you want to include in each of your sections. Double check again before you hit submit. Do I have all the instructions correct? Did I do all the directions correct? Ask several people to review your application and critique it. The critiques are not against you in any way. This is to help make your application better, to stand out among others so that you get an interview and a scholarship. Complete all the sections. The moment that you put not applicable, that's a no score. And when I showed you the breakdown of each of the scores, that could potentially be minus 12 points and put the difference between some other kid getting the interview over you. So make sure you put something in there. And again, emphasize quality over quantity. A reminder, this is an academic scholarship. Keep that in mind. The application will be competing against a pool across the whole state. There is not a quota. That was a rumor from a long time ago. There's no quota for districts or counties. Just apply. Everybody has the same equal chance. And remember, just because it worked for somebody last year does not mean it's going to work for somebody this year, because they change judges each year for the application to be judged and for the interview. So just know it's a whole new set of eyes looking at these. The Fort Worth Stock Show is the only livestock show donor that requires participation in their show. Again, that's not just the livestock show. That could be in a contest area. Your high school academic proficiency has been met, and your college entrance exams have been taken. I'm going to stress this as a junior. ACT, SATs, just potentially 2026, then putting it on the application. Make sure that you are taking those. Each application will receive a total score. The scores are sorted from highest to lowest, and they are matched with the maximum amount of scholarships for the dollar. So no, again, if you put the not applicable and get minus 12 points, that could be the difference in you getting the $20,000 scholarship or the $5,000, or getting an interview or not. So make sure you're filling everything in. The donors do set the criteria, as I showed you before. Scholarships are restricted to a major or a college and course of study that will have to be verified each semester. So make sure that you're keeping up with that too, having communication, watching your email, because you will have to verify what university you're going to, uploading that transcript and putting the hours in. Don't lie on your scholarship. Somebody will catch you eventually. Eventually it will catch you. So just don't lie, be honest. Your narratives, they are rarely effective when written once. Again, have multiple eyes, review, review, review. Computer crashes will always happen. Again, submit your application, I suggest February 14th. Because if something happens on February 15th and it's 11 p.m. and you're trying to submit, there's not going to be much they can do for you. So get ahead of the game, submit early. That way, in case something does happen to your computer, you still have time to submit it, or ask somebody to help you submit it. And then your high school counselors, of course, still need time to collect your transcripts, so start that communication now. This is just another timeline already included. They did open November 1st, so if you have any questions, I will be hanging out for just a little bit afterwards, because it is November 20th. If you've started the application, District 12 review deadlines on there, FAFSA deadlines, all that stuff we've covered. And then resources, as far as the Texas 4-H Foundation, I wanted to show you this. So this is what you find when you see the Texas 4-H Foundation. This is their home screen. You just go to scholarships and you can click on it, and it gives you all the deadlines, the review guideline, the scholarship portal, and then that CEA verification form. And this is what the verification form looks like, so they can verify who you are. And then I was going to show you, this is before everybody hops off, this is the District 12 4-H page. For the scholarship resources, if you go under contest and events, it will be here at the bottom. It is password restricted right now. I will send the password out to everybody that attended to watch the recording, see the resources, and have all the opportunity to upload their information into the Google form if they would like. But that is it. Does anybody have any questions? Even though I went really fast, I feel like. If not, I'm going to be hanging out until everybody hops off the call. But yeah, if y'all want to stay around and ask questions, I'm here.
Well done, Grace.
Thank you. I was nervous because you were on.
You
were
stop
my
it.
mentor back in the day.
Back in the day. Yeah, I think Kennedy was like in the first group that went through the online scholarship.
Yes, mine was still
process.
paper.
You were still paper. Yeah. Yeah. No, great job. I know
you.
it's a beast. It's a beast.
Yes.
But do it, because you got to apply.
Yeah, it's money out for grabs.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, anytime.
Bye.
Let me know if you need anything.
Thanks, Grace. Bye.
Hi, Grace. This is Jaron, Brian Owen's mom. He had a basketball game. But I had a question on he applied to A&M and that was his first choice and he got his acceptance in September. Does he have to list that second school if he didn't need to, or he didn't have to apply to a second one? So is that okay to leave that?
Yes,
Okay.
leave it blank.
Okay.
Yes, just make sure you click that he's been accepted on it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate your time. You did great.
Yes, thank you. No problem.
Hey Grace, this is Emily and Beth. On the college entrance exams, does that include like their TSIs that they're doing, or she already does like the dual credit programs? I'm not certain if that's on their training.
No, it does not include their TSI. The SAT is a separate. Sorry, I'm having to think. The SAT and the ACT is like the college entrance exams. The TSI is for just the dual credit that they do in high school.
Okay. And then
If that
one
makes
other.
sense.
Yes, no, that makes sense. That's what I was kind of thinking, but just wanted to verify. One other one was she recently did a record book, or she competed in record book last July or June. And like you said, a lot of those forms are similar to those submitted for the record book. So I'm assuming the formats that you showed us are what is acceptable for entry for this scholarship application.
Yes, and if I haven't seen or can't really remember her record book, but I would recommend probably adding a little bit more detail into that explanation, or like more focused on the importance side of it and the impact on that, if I'm remembering the table correctly, because you're talking about, let's see, I'm moving it back over.
Sure.
You're talking about like this part, this roles, responsibilities, duties, and accomplishments part.
And the project, and her project portion of the record book, she wrote more in a paragraph form instead of a chart, but can easily transform it into a chart if that's more preferred.
It's not that it's preferred or not. I think it has more of a professional look and it's easier to read. That's my thought. And that's what will make her stand out over others. That's my point behind it. Because a lot of people, I feel like, are going to just write like the paragraphs and put a title on it. And then you just want it easier for the judge, easier for them to know and review.
Right. Good point.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. This is very helpful.
Yeah. Yes. Let me know if you all have any more questions.
Will do. Thank you.
Anybody else on that has questions? If not, I'm gonna log off.
Hi, Grace. I just, I'm not on the email. I was wondering if I could put it in the chat and you can add me on.
Yes.
One of the other girls forwarded me the information and she couldn't be on there, but you have her email, so I'm sure she'll get the information. And I took notes to give her because they had a superintendent's meeting. But if I can put that in the chat, will you